This has helped me really kind of break my addiction to my Hey everybody, welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. In this video or episode, I'm going to be talking about my latest tip for insane focus. And if you do have an iPhone, this is especially for you. And if you don't, I'm sure there are other tools and apps that are relatable, but I just wanted to give you the idea and the thought process of how I've set up my settings so that you can implement on your own device. I'm also going to record my screen here on my phone, and I'm going to have the screen share up here on the video for you. But as you can see, I've got my wallpaper, my background. I've got a couple of key things like the apps that I actually use every day on my homepage, the social media apps that I post on, my email, my Gmail app, Slack, WhatsApp, text message. There's quite a few things going on here, and I can probably streamline it a little bit more, but I have it on a work setting where it's gotten very amazing. I don't have all the notifications and the distractions that I used to, because previously we had do not disturb mode and I'd have to manually switch it to allow calls from contacts and things like that. And then at night I would change it to only favorites can call me if it's an emergency. And now you can have a little more control over the settings. But real quick, just side note, if you don't have an Apple phone, that's cool. I know a lot of people do, but there is a Zapier blog post that shares a few tools that can block distractions. And here's a few of them that they name off. They said there's an app, I guess, called Freedom that blocks distractions on all your devices at once. Serene helps you plan and follow through on deep focus sessions. Cold Turkey Blocker for scheduled system-wide blocking. There's Leech Block. There's a list of them, and maybe we'll put a link in here or something to that article in case that's of interest to you. But my settings on the work mode, when I scroll down, I'm just swiping down on my screen so you can see, because I have the modes are on here, and when I click into it, I can see there's do not disturb, there's work mode, there's sleep mode, and there's personal mode, which I haven't really used personal mode at all. I've either been in work or sleep, to be honest, every single day, because I like the settings on work and I don't really want random calls coming through. Most of them tend to be spam. So the work mode turns on automatically for me from 6:15 a.m. to 10 p.m. So all day it is on. And then sleep mode is on those alternate hours from 10 p.m. until 6:15 a.m. So sleep mode, there's no notifications, but the favorites can call me if there's an emergency. So I don't have my phone on silent, but I don't hear any dings or anything like that, because that always drives me nuts. You'd have a roommate in college, or maybe your significant other or fiance or whatever has their phone on, and it's like Saturday and you hear a ding at 7 a.m. when you're trying to sleep in, right? Never fun. So I don't hear any of those dings or rings. The only time would be if a family member or a favorite called me, then it would go through, and they never really call me. It's only if it's an emergency or during normal human work hours. And then the apps, when I click into this, I'm gonna click into the little dots on here so you can see the settings. So I've got my people who are allowed, right? My siblings, my parents, my fiance. I've got the calls that are allowed from all contacts. So I don't want repeated calls to come through too, because sometimes these spammers, they've got systems and devices, or they try to call you 3 times in a row to get through that. I don't want that to happen, because typically it's some freaking automated message telling me about my car warranty being expired, and I don't want to really hear that, right? So only the people that I allow can send notifications, and that way I may hear a ding during the day. My phone is typically on silent mode anyway, but if I'm expecting a call, or during work hours, if I'm just checking emails and I'm not doing anything crazy deep work that requires all my attention and focus, I will allow the phone to ring, and I'll look over and see, is it a client? If it is, I may answer, because it's probably pertaining to a transaction I'm doing. And if it's someone random, like a friend or, an old time friend, and I'm busy with something, I may just let it go to voicemail and call them back later. For the apps that I allow, I can streamline this as well, but so far I've got Asana, Calendly, Google Calendar, Slack, and WhatsApp. I do communicate with some of my team through Slack, and my virtual assistant, my main one, uses WhatsApp. And then Asana is where I can see updates of things that are happening for my podcast with other virtual assistants. Calendly is great, so I can see when people are booking appointments and calls, podcasts, things like that. And then my calendar obviously sends me notifications when events are about to happen, like, hey, this meeting's in 30 minutes. I'm about to get one in a minute here. That's going to tell me Clubhouse call in 30 minutes. As of this, right there, if you're watching this on the screen, it just dropped down. time sensitive. So let's go through this. So you can see here, there's other settings on when to turn it on. I can turn different statuses on. I could even lock the home screen. I haven't done this, but if you want to not get distracted, you can create it where the home screen, maybe you have 7 screens on your phone and you can only display the home page so that you can't swipe to further on where you've got other apps or social media apps that distract you. So it's just one more step that makes it a little more inconvenient, a little more difficult. And of course, in turn, that makes you hopefully focus on the task at hand and just be like, you know what? it's not worth swiping 3 pages to get to that app. I'm just going to get back to work. So unknown calls, this is a big one. Unknown calls go straight to voicemail. I know it's crazy. I'm in real estate. Oh my gosh, am I supposed to answer every phone call and sit here like a call center? No, I will not do that. My voicemail tells people to text me, especially if it's a property in regards to being purchased or sold. Tell them to text me the address. So usually it goes like this. They try to call me twice. It goes straight to voicemail. My voicemail, they finally listen to it. It tells them to text me. They text me. I respond in like 3 minutes. So I'll look at my phone and glance. And if it is a question or if it's important, I can quickly determine, should I take the time and energy to reply to this? And I have saved replies and all those kinds of things, text replacement, keyboard replacement, also worth looking into. And so this has helped me somewhat break the addiction to checking the phone. But before I talk about the rest of this and wind down, let me go to my sleep settings real quick just to see if it differs very much. So for sleep settings, it turns on at 10:15 p.m., my bedtime, and 6:15 a.m. is when it goes back to work mode. And I will allow, it says nothing is allowed at this time, but if I click here, it'll say also allow calls from favorites. So I do allow calls from favorites because that's my fiance, my main immediate family. Like if somebody needs something, they can call me, and my fiance lives with me. So like, hopefully she wouldn't call me and wake me up out of my sleep. But that's it. I stopped sharing my screen now. This has helped me really kind of break my addiction to my phone, because you get the screen time or whatever. Many of your apps, your phones may tell you kind of a summary of where you spent your time, how much time you spent on the phone, those types of things at the end of the week. And I'd be curious to see if it's dropped and how much, because honestly, I have not been checking my phone. I have gone a couple of days lately where it's been 2-3 hours and I have not looked at my phone. I haven't updated everything. This is the craziest part. I used to update my story chronically, like all the time, consistently, which is great. In the morning, I get my posts out, I create my content, I update my stories. I want to make sure I'm producing more than I consume, as I've spoken about before, but I would do that throughout the day. I'd update stuff. I'd look at some different posts on motivational pages that I like. I'd share that to my story. I'll comment occasionally. But recently I have found that I'll look and I'll update all my stuff till like 10 or 11 a.m. And then I look at my phone in the evenings and it'll say last story post 7 hours ago. And I'm just like, holy crap. I'm used to posting on my story like every hour that I'm awake. And now I've finally broken free in a way where I'm not even really looking at a whole lot of people's stories all the time. Sometimes I check in, but I'm focused on my own thing. And I really do believe that this mode has come in, this work mode has really come in handy, because I'm not getting thrown off by spam calls or people calling me to ask questions that are answered on things that are online that I tell them to refer to, right? So it sounds a little harsh. It sounds a little maybe impersonal, but the focus part, it's so important. Imagine if you're trying to focus, like if you're trying to read a book and your phone's not on silent and it's ringing every 3 to 5 minutes. I don't know how many phone calls you get, but I swear I get like 10 spam calls a day, and it's freaking annoying. They start at like 8 a.m. on the dot, right? And they get like 3 as soon as it's 8 a.m. like the little robots are calling me. And so I'm trying to read, and then my phone rings, and then now it's got the spam filters. It tells you spam suspected or spam likely, but before that it wouldn't. And sometimes they're really good at tricking you because they know your phone number and they match your state. So it'll have an area code that I'm familiar with, and I'll answer it, and it's some automated message, or it's someone trying to sell me something that I don't need. I'm like, dude, I'm not interested. Like, no. Like, I know you about this domain. Like, let me just help you. I'm like, dude, your call center in India. Like, I can clearly hear hundreds of people behind you or whatever it is. Like, I'm not interested at all. I'll build my own website, or I'll have a virtual assistant of mine do it, So anyway, rant over. The main point of this episode is to explore the options on your phone, whether it's an app or whether it's something that's built in, such as on the iPhone, and really dial things in. Who do you want to get calls from? Who do you want to get texts from? Do you want to hear a ding every time there's an email, a notification in Asana, a Calendly booking? No, you don't need to be hearing all those things. And I know I've talked about this on previous episodes. I think I joked about how maybe turn on the money noise of like Venmo or PayPal. So all I want to hear is the cha-ching sound of money coming in. I don't want to be thinking about like, oh man, another email came in. I hear the little like whoosh noise or whatever. It just stresses you out. And it produces a little bit of anxiety in a way, because we all get so many emails and messages and phone calls and spam calls and voicemails. And this is the way to focus. So that is it for this episode. I hope you found this helpful. I'm always happy to share the latest tips, tricks, hacks for achieving insane focus and clarity. If you have any questions, drop them below if you're watching this on YouTube, or shoot me a DM. I guess I keep saying shoot me a DM on Instagram. Probably the best place would be to go to YouTube and drop the comment below this video so I can answer it in a timely manner. manner. I have fallen a bit behind on DMs because what a surprise. I have a lot of spam messages in my DMs too, pitching me on all kinds of things and verification badges and followers. So it's difficult to sift through what's real and what's spam at times. And I get frustrated and I just don't check the inbox sometimes for like a week. So I think we've all been there before. We're trying to focus on what matters most and eliminate the noise and really just stay clear of mind, right? Clarity, focus, intention, all powerful words. And when you're creating and you're coming from that act of creation, you have to be all there. Wherever you are, be all there. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Chris Bello. You can follow me on Instagram, chrisbello_. For my latest free guide or downloadable file, go to chrisbello.com/free and leave me a review if you have not already. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Talk to you on the next episode. Bye.